Hey gaming fans, so today's another Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile, and this one is for the common charity format. Now I know this format, again, like in my last video where I did a common charity deck, this isn't an official thing yet. I know we've had some information on it. Maybe in the OCG it's official, but here in the TCG it's not fully official. So I'm just kind of going by rules I'm assuming, and that's that you can use the regular ban list and that all your cards need to be common cards. But anyways, if you haven't checked out my other video, I did one on my first deck, which was the Machina Gadgets. So this one I thought I would do Skull Servant, because I realized that pretty much most of the deck is common already. So let's get to the deck. So we got Skull Servant. We have 3. So you need to play the 3. They're the vanilla. They do nothing. You just want to get these into the graveyard as fast as possible. You don't want these in your hand. Just get them into the graveyard, maybe set them or whatever, discard them. So the deck that this is really based on is King of the Skull Servants. Now King of the Skull Servants is going to pretty much be your win condition. The original attack of this card becomes a number of King of the Skull Servants and Skull Servant cards in your graveyard times 1,000 points. When this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard as a result of battle, remove from play one other King of the Skull Servants or Skull Servant card in your graveyard to special summon this card. So pretty much the rest of the deck is full of cards that count as Skull Servants while they're in the graveyard. So this guy can get really big and just really push for damage. You know, and I've built this deck with, you know, just regular formats and all the other stuff. And even GOAT format, I have a deck for this. So if you want, you can search that one up too. So then we're going to play 3 of the White Mare. So this card, well, this card is in the graveyard. This card's name is Skull Servant. You can discard this card to activate one of the following effects. Select one of your remove from play Skull Servant or White Mare, return it to the graveyard, or select one of your remove from play Lady of the White or King of the Skull Servants as special summon it. Really cool card. Definitely need to play 3. Then, of course, we have the Lady in the White, which you also need to play 3 of, I think. I'm pretty sure. So face up level 3 or lower. Zombie type monsters you control, except the Lady in the White, cannot be destroyed by battle and are unaffected by the effects of spell and trap cards. So this is really cool. When this guy's out in defense mode, this woman I should say, she's out in defense mode, 2200 defense, that's pretty good. She can stand up to a lot of things and really protect your King of the Skull Servants, or, you know, protect your zombies. Then we got White Princess, which I think was somewhat of a newer card. I think this was one of the newer ones. This card's name is Skull Servant while in the graveyard. If this card is normal or special summon, you can send 1 White Prince from your deck to your graveyard, and then during either player's turn, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard. All monsters currently on the field lose attack and defense equal to their own levels / rank by 300 until the end of this turn. So this can do some fun tricks, you know, reduce your opponent's monsters, just get them low enough that when you go to attack with your really big King of the Skull Servants, you can do some damage. And of course, the White Prince is this guy right here. This is the White Prince, so we play 3. If this card's sent to the graveyard, you can send 1 Skull Servant and 1 Lady in the White from your hand or deck to the graveyard. I like that it's deck. That's what really makes this good. And then you can banish 2 Skull Servants and this card from your graveyard to special summon 1 King of the Skull Servants from your deck. Another good thing there, just to get your Skull Servant. Now the problem is this doesn't count as a Skull Servant in the graveyard, so you have to remember that. But its effects are really good, so makes up for it. Then we play 3 Mizukis, because why not? I mean, it's a monster reborn into a monster effect. You can banish this card from your graveyard to target 1 zombie type monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So most likely you're going to go after your King of the Skull Servants to finish off your opponent. You know, when they're not expecting it anyways. Now onto the spells. So this one I was kind of working around with. I'm still probably going to tweak around with this deck and have some fun with it. But so far I have 2 Pot of Duality. Yeah, that's like a super rare, I think. I have the common one there, but I'm gonna search my stuff for the common version just to keep it pure commons. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty much a common. You know, it's Pot of Duality. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, and if one of the add one of them to your hand and shuffle the rest into your deck, and then you cannot special summon. So you can't use your Mizuki on that turn, but that's okay. You're trying to set up your graveyard and get your plays going. Then I put in one Day of Peace. This is just to kind of help get through your deck. Each player draws a card, and then neither player takes damage till the end of the opponent's next turn. So basically, you're going to live through your opponent's turn, and you get an extra card in your hand. Then I put 2 Dark World Dealings. I just like how this card can cycle through the cards in your hand. Now, the problem is, I mean, it is a -1 because you lose this card, and then you lose a card in your hand to replace it. But still, you got to get those Skull Servants into the graveyard. And then just drawing into those King of the Skull Servants really helps. And then the same idea, I put in 1 Hand Destruction. Same idea. Each player discards 2 cards and then draws 2 cards. So it's still a -1, but at least it gets you to filter out the cards. Because you're going to find in your opening hand, you're probably going to end up with a lot of Skull Servant stuff in your hand. So you want to get it out there into the graveyard and the Mizukis. Because, you know, this deck is like a one-punch kill. You know, you just want to set up the graveyard, get as many in there, and just go for that one attack to win the game. So, you know, card advantage might not matter. Which is the same reason I play Card Destruction. You can throw all your stuff into the graveyard, you know, Mizukis and all, and, you know, just when its time is right, just attack for game. I threw in 1 Foolish Burial. There's so many cards you could throw in there. Some of your Skull Servant support cards that have effects when they hit the graveyard. Your Mizuki, of course. So lots of tricks you can do with that. I was going to play Allure of Darkness, but I don't like the idea of banishing. It's not really the theme of this deck, so I kind of kept it out. This is just tech. This is just fun. Opti Camouflage Armor. So if this card can only be equipped to a level 1 monster, which is your King of the Skull Servants. He's a level 1. And what it basically says is the monster can attack your opponent directly. So, you know, get your King of the Skull Servants up to like 8,000 and attack for game. It doesn't matter what your opponent has in play. And then to deal with your opponent's monsters while you're trying to set up, I put in 2 Lightning Vortex. I don't believe there's a Raigeki that's a common yet. I don't think we do in the TCG. Or I don't know, maybe Dark Hole. But I decided to go with Vortex. Destroys all their monsters, so you keep your monsters. And it's another discard outlet to get some of those Skull Servants out of your hand. Same thing with 2 Twin Twisters. We can deal with, you know, nasty spells and traps in the back row. Again, this format isn't really fleshed out yet. I don't know if anybody's really ever played a common charity format yet. But, so we don't know what people are going to put in their decks. But, you know, it's still good to know that we can have some Twin Twisters. You know, cards like Mystic Mine, I don't even think that's common. So you're probably not going to run into stuff like that. But you still got to worry about back row. And then to help, again, get more crap into the graveyard, we have the Needlebug Nest. This is send the top 5 cards of your deck to the graveyard. So, you know, this can work as a surprise card too. Say you have your King of the Skull Servants out, and he's only at 3,000 attack. You got 3 Skull Servants in the graveyard. Set this card, and then wait for your opponent to attack. Maybe if your King of the Skull Servants is at 2,000 attack, you set this, and then you could send maybe 2-3 Skull Servants to the graveyard to boost his attack by 3,000. And your opponent runs into your Skull Servant, King of the Skull Servants, and it's too late. So that could be a fun trick too. Then I just put some standard stuff in, some Solemn Warnings just to deal with whatever, and a Torrential Tribute. Again, if you're, you know, starting out, you might be setting some of your cards. You might not be going for that attack. So the Torrential Tribute, you can set it, you know, hopefully let it go off, and then on your next turn, just attack into an open field. So yeah, I mean that's what I put together. This deck is pretty much all common, so it's really good. You know, the original deck was all common, you know, with a slight few cards that might have been taken out, but you know, you can really win with this deck. It's really fun. It can surprise your opponent really quickly. I really like this deck. I always love this the King of the Skull Servants. Anyways, let me know what you think. Throw some comments down below. Hopefully this common charity format gets official by Konami, and then we can actually get some rulings and all that stuff. Anyways, hope you liked the video. Hope you subscribe. Talk to you later.